All right, let's dive right into this explainer. If you've ever spent even 5 minutes on a busy facility floor, you know that managing physical tools isn't just about counting items on a dusty shelf. No way. It is a constantly moving, breathing puzzle. Tools are checked out, dropped, transferred across sites, calibrated, and, let's be real, sometimes they just mysteriously walk away. Today, we're unpacking exactly how a modern digital platform actually functions day to day to keep all that absolute chaos perfectly organized. Now, what is truly staggering about this setup is the sheer scale of it all. We're talking 11 distinct tabs and 8 dedicated workflows, all operating together in perfect sync. This isn't just some glorified digital filing cabinet. It is an active engine handling everything from auto-numbering new assets to processing really complex checkout transactions. It basically acts as the central nervous system for the entire workshop's daily operations. To make sense of this massive system, we're going to follow a single tool through 5 daily stages. First, setting up the system. Then, the daily checkout process. Next, when things go wrong. After that, calibration and compliance. And finally, seeing the big picture. So, let's kick things off with step 1, setting up the system and bringing the tool to life. The absolutely crucial point here is that before a tool can be tracked through its daily paces, it actually has to exist in the system, right? Imagine a massive shipment of new torque wrenches just dropped at the loading dock. Instead of some poor manager sitting there doing hours of tedious manual data entry, admins use a bulk entry process that operates just like a familiar spreadsheet. You literally just copy and paste the data directly from Excel to map it into the system. And what makes this so incredibly robust, it's all or nothing validation rule. If there is a single error in one row, the system demands it's fixed before the batch is committed. That means your database stays perfectly clean right from day one. And because of that setup, the tool doesn't just sit in some digital void. It is instantly given context for its daily life. The moment that torque wrench is entered, it's assigned to a specific named category. Say it's a precision instrument, bam, an optional requires calibration flag is automatically attached. Then it's slotted into a precise physical space using a 2-level location hierarchy. So the system knows it isn't just in the warehouse, it's in the main warehouse, specifically sublocation A. You can even toggle locations as active or inactive, which is a total lifesaver when storage spaces are undergoing renovation or stock taking. Moving right along to phase 2, the daily checkout process, putting the tool to work. Let's picture what happens when a technician actually walks up on a Tuesday morning needing that exact torque wrench to get their job done. The manager first turns to the asset register. Think of this as the grand central station of the entire workflow. Using a simple text search by name, serial number, or brand, or just filtering through those categories we just talked about, they look up the wrench. Instantly, the register spits out its real-time status. They see the total count, sure, but more importantly, they see if it's available, checked out, sitting in maintenance, or flagged as damaged. It completely takes the guesswork out of the morning rush. Once they confirm it is available, they gotta hand it over. To do this, they fire up the checkout and returns workflow, which is built entirely for speed. Step 1, they just use a camera to scan the tool's QR or barcode. Step 2, toggle the system to checkout mode. And step 3, the system instantly generates a checkout receipt PDF. It's that fast. This creates full borrower accountability, whether that tool is going to an internal staff member or being loaned out to an external contractor. Everyone knows exactly who has what at all times.
But what if our technician didn't just need one wrench? What if they're a brand new hire who needs their entire standard gear set? Well, that is where the Basic Toolkits feature comes into play. Managers can build kit templates with required tool lists and quantities for mandatory tool sets. When issued, it generates a printable handover checklist. And here is a feature that is frankly just genius: the offboarding guard. If a staff member resigns, the system automatically flags their mandatory toolset, ensuring a full return of all those items before they can officially leave. It literally eliminates that super common problem where thousands of dollars in hand tools just walk out the door when an employee moves on.
All right, phase 3, when things go wrong, handling the unexpected. Because anyone who's ever worked in a facility knows, workshops are chaotic. Things break. When a technician comes back to the counter holding a snapped torque wrench, it triggers a really comprehensive damage life cycle. At minute 1, a damage report is auto-filed directly from the return screen, prompting a quick photo upload of the evidence. By hour 2, an inspection is logged, but notice what happens around hour 4. If there's a repair cost estimated, the system absolutely hard stops and requires explicit manager approval before that repair can proceed. Finally, by day 2, a definitive decision is made to either repair or retire the asset. It takes a frustrating, broken tool situation and turns it into a calm, documented, and fully auditable workflow. Now, what if the tool isn't broken, but it's just gone? The system handles this beautifully by distinguishing between a real loss and a planned move. The missing workflow kicks in to automatically capture the last known location and user, tracking the investigation all the way through to either finding it or taking a financial write-off. On the flip side, if a tool just needs to go to another site, the Transfers tab steps in. This moves assets between branches using a strict 5-stage approval chain. And, critically, while that tool is in transit, it is entirely locked down. Nobody can check it out, and branch ownership only actually transfers upon final receipt confirmation at the destination. Moving to Phase 4, calibration and compliance, ensuring safety and accuracy. Okay, we have to talk about compliance, because a functioning tool isn't always a safe or accurate one, right? Especially in highly regulated industries. Remember that torque wrench we set up earlier? Well, because it was flagged back during the bulk entry phase, it automatically inherited calibration interval requirements based on its category. This dedicated calibration tab provides a centralized place to track certificate-linked calibration records, provider info, and even the calibration cost logs specifically for high-stakes equipment like those wrenches, pressure gauges, and diagnostic devices. And to make sure compliance doesn't just fall through the cracks of a crazy busy schedule, managers rely on these proactive KPI badges. The system visually flags exactly which tools are valid and good to go, which ones are due soon, which is great because it lets managers schedule downtime without wrecking normal workflows, and which tools are dangerously expired. It basically puts proactive compliance management on autopilot. And finally, Phase 5, seeing the big picture, looking at analytics and total cost. Every single scan, every checkout, every return we've talked about, it all feeds directly into the Analytics and Reports tab, giving you an embedded real-time dashboard. You get these fascinating insights, like a technician usage leaderboard. You can instantly see who is checking out equipment the most, and, maybe spot who's hoarding tools at their workstation. You also get a per-asset activity history log with exact timestamps, leaving an absolutely perfect audit trail of its daily life. And while all this daily action is happening across those 11 tabs, the platform is running some critical background operations. Every single asset has a multi-photo gallery where you can just drag and drop images. The system is silently calculating straight-line depreciation in the background, tracking useful life, salvage value, net book value, the whole shebang. It's monitoring warranty statuses and expiry dates, and all of this is locked down by strict role-based permissions, meaning only authorized folks can actually create, update, delete, or transfer these items. So here's where it all comes together. When you combine the inline service logs from the Maintenance tab with those straight-line depreciation metrics, pure magic happens. For facility managers, they are handed a real-time cumulative picture of their total cost of ownership. They aren't just looking at the initial price tag of that torque wrench anymore. They are seeing its purchase price minus its depreciation, plus the cumulative vendor costs for every single repair and calibration it has ever undergone in its daily life. When you map out full accountability across these workflows, it reveals the hidden heartbeat of a facility. It leaves us with a pretty big question. If every scan, repair, and transfer tells a story of operational flow or friction, how much lost revenue and efficiency is currently hiding in the unrecorded, messy daily life of your facility's tools? Imagine what you could unlock by bringing every single tool's journey out of the shadows and into a system exactly like this. Just something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.